all right? So everyone's dealing with the same recipe book, same playbook, all right? And this is just very fundamental. And this is done in other areas of science and technology, but it's been really omitted so far from the new energy scene. So when I've shopped this around, and by the way, I've been talking about this, like Foster, you would know this. You've heard me talking about this for almost 3 years. You know, Catherine Austin Fitz, Gene Manning, others, they've heard me, you know, talking about this idea, you know, having these rigorous test protocols, all right? Well, some people say, hey, this sounds like a great idea, Joel. Sounds like a lot of work, Joel. Doesn't sound very exciting. Who's going to do this? Well, probably not someone who's just going to lounge around. You know, it's going to be real work, all right? And some people who have the skills to do it are going to be the ones who would be recruited to do this. So like with kind of standard processes in science and business, you form a committee to do this. In this case, it would be well-qualified, credentialed people from the science and engineering communities who would write these procedures. Now, when I've contacted such professionals and have put it out there like, hey, if we can do this, if we can get the support to do this, would you serve on such a committee? All right? And the feedback has been pretty consistent. It says, well, it sounds great. I agree with all this, would like to help. However, I don't have the time to volunteer. I understand that. I've been on voluntary protocol development committees in the water treatment field, where that's how I feed my family currently. It has nothing to do with the new energy field. Everyone at the New Energy Movement is essentially an unpaid volunteer. We do this because we believe it's what it's our calling to do. But I work in the water treatment field. And so I've served on protocol development committees, both for the state of New Jersey and for the country of Canada. And I know what it means to put in the time and dig in, and you know, it's kind of a lot of nitty-gritty on it, but it's important. It's the only way you really get you know, really good vetting techniques captured and disseminated, so that ends up benefiting the community, both the consumer and the investment community for any type of technology. Well, we can't reasonably expect everyone to be volunteers, especially if we want it to have this happen fast. Being able to pay people to do this valuable work would change that, and that's just very practical. Everyone wants to be paid for their work, and I support that. They should be. The scope of work itself basically would be putting together a set of protocols that would account for various type of energetic inputs and outputs, and those would be, you know, electrical and magnetic and thermal, mechanical, chemical, and nuclear. Those basically, you know, resolve all the different potentially measurable inputs and outputs. And then that would all be compiled into a document that could be easily referenced. It's essentially the cookbook that everyone has at the inventor's lab bench. Very, very convenient, very comprehensive. And then, very importantly, there also would be a special appendix in this. And what it would be a compilation of the findings of various people who have been out there vetting these type of technologies around the world. And I have a stable of colleagues who have been doing this for years, going around and investigating these claims. And because the vast majority of what they've investigated has been junk, they've learned what the red flags were. Very practical, very, very practical and very valuable addition to any document like this. What are the common errors? All right? If an inventor sees that, and he's like, oh, I'm doing that. I'm doing one of those errors. Well, gosh, think about what, you just did him an enormous favor, because now he doesn't waste his time doing something that's going to be fruitless. All right, so this would be a really unique thing to put into the protocols, and highly, highly valuable, and it builds on the experiences of these people who've been going around tirelessly trying to uncover the diamonds in the rough out there. Then there'd be a coordinator of this whole program who oversees that committee, and when the thing's finally done, they essentially coordinate the release of it. So it goes out through all these channels, and so the inventor becomes aware of it, all of that community, the investment community, the science community, everybody's got the same playbook. And those inventors who end up using that protocol to establish the performance claims of their own technology, they enhance their own credibility, all right? And that means that they're going to bring the resources from the investment community because they've established credibility, all right? Because again, the protocols would be written by these very credentialed experts in the energy field. So the vetting agents who then come to see if the claims that the inventor have made are valid, they're going to be using the exact same protocols that the inventor used in establishing his claim. It's very consistent. It's basically just saying like, okay, you baked a cake with those ingredients and it tasted like chocolate. I'm going to use the same ingredients, see if I get the same dessert, okay? Very, very simple. And this is how it works in industry already. It certainly works in the water industry that I'm in. And, so there's nothing outstanding about this. It's just this is a discipline that yet needs to be applied, all right? But when they go through this and they get verified, boy, that is the stamp of gold, all right? So the inventors should really, really welcome this if they're real. So as the investment community becomes aware of these, they will only financially support those technologies where those protocols have been applied, because they know that that's going to be a wise use of their money. All right, so it's essentially as a seal of approval that says this is a safe investment. So to boil it all down to the real expected outcomes is we now take has been a vast stream, a wide stream of junk technology now gets concentrated and propagated into a very concentrated stream of technologies of merit. And that ends up saving an enormous amount of time and money and personal energy that otherwise is squandered when you're trying to figure out whether the piece of junk is real or not. So this would the end result is a much faster entry of the technologies of merit into the public domain to do all of those things that we know is important to do with these type of incredible technologies. Is there a cost attached to doing this? Yes, there is. I'm projecting it's fairly minimal, $50,000 to $100,000, which is minimal considering the leverage of something like this. And an organization like New Energy Movement could spearhead this, but there could be many others. And I would invite anyone who would want to take this on, go with it, run with it. It's a good idea. We've gotten the feedback. We have people who are willing to serve on the committees. But we will do this work if the support comes to do that. But again, others are welcome to take it on as well. I wanted to make you aware of much of the resource that New Energy Movement provides to the public is in the form of a book called Breakthrough Power. And Gene Manning, who you see here, is my co-author of this book. And Jean is here and she's an amazing, amazing woman. She has been, for 30 years plus, has been investigating this whole field of new energy, writing about it, lecturing about it worldwide. Over those 30 plus years, she has interviewed more inventors in the new energy scene than anyone by far. Jean legitimately is the real expert. She's been a primary mentor to me, and she's just a beloved colleague. So I hope you get to meet Jean. She'll be selling books out there on the side, and I hope you pick it up. I am very proud to announce that New Energy Movement now has a new executive director as of today. Her name is Susan Kornacki. Susan, are you here? There she is, way in the back. Susan has some skills as a conscious leader, conscious leadership expert, and emotional intelligence expert. She's provided consultation to a lot of major organizations for years on those topics. She's a deep listener. She has experience in the new energy field as well. She's really going to be able to direct those skills toward helping us in our efforts to dramatically increase our public outreach as far as educating about this whole thing that I've been talking to you about, and also our inventor advocacy efforts. And I just know that Susan's going to be an amazing ambassador for the new